The armory, new aspects and unique items, new runes, new look of the Tree of Whispers location, and an actual seasonal mechanics. We could test all this in the last PTR 2.1, so let's ask ourselves this question: does Season 7 look good? The new season will definitely bring many changes to the class balance. You can read about them in the PTR patch notes, although this is certainly not the final version of what will be in the game with the start of the season. Nevertheless, we can happily say goodbye to bugged Spiritborn and hopefully expect the grand return of the old classes. I decided to play as Druid. I used the PTR boost NPC and started testing right away on the Torment 4 difficulty level. I didn't use the seasonal mechanics boost until the very end of PTR though. The numbers you see on the screen I assume will probably change because they are absolutely crazy. I just hope this build doesn't get nerfed completely because it was very fun to play. The build I use is Boulder Bear by Screamheart and you have a link to it in the description. Let's start with the fact there was no seasonal quest available in the PTR, none. So we have no idea what exactly the season storyline will be about. However, we could see a new improved location of the Tree of Whispers. There we will find the vendors we already know, such as Jeweler, Blacksmith and Occultist, but also the Alchemist, Healer and the seasonal character Coven Jeweler. There are also 3 altars and Coven's favor reputation board nearby, but more on that in the moment. The waypoint is located closer to the tree. The main activity of the season is the so-called headhunts. So officially we can say the green Helltides that we know from Season 2 are back, but these, in my opinion, are much better and solve the problems that occurred in second season. First of all, we have a lot more whispers. In addition to the classics we know, like Dungeon, Harvest, Find the Corpse or slay specific type of monsters, we can also complete events related to the season and those that maybe will stay with us for longer. Because there are so many whispers somewhere on the map of the area covered by seasonal event, we can find a raven and collect the reward from whispers from it, so we don't have to teleport to the tree. The new whispers are Skawa, which involves collecting 7 herbs, burning them in cauldron and defeating enemies. Patrol, which involves killing a specific number of monsters in the area of a patrolling warrior. Shepherd, an event similar to one you can encounter near Turdurva, which involves escorting animals to a safe place. Contrary to appearance, this is one of the fastest whisper to do, although during the PTR sometimes it simply didn't work in some areas. I reported the bug, I hope it won't appear in Season 7. Seek involves killing hidden head-rotten enemies. To do this you need to find the frogs, which you should easily spot on the minimap. Wisp, an escort mission. You follow the lost wisp, defeating enemies along the way. Unfortunately, this whisper could also get bugged during the PTR and spawn monsters infinitely. I also reported this bug. Fugitive, kill the mini-boss of the seasonal area, an enemy from a cocoon. Handless husk, or recover the fugitive head. Dispel shrouding charm. 6 times we get rid of enemies that spawn near the charms. Slay 2 thralls of rot. Entangled, killing enemies near people stuck in roots, until they free themselves. Purge the rot. I think it's about killing rotten enemies, I think, because I never read the description. This whisper always completed by itself while I was doing other whispers in the zone. In seasonal area we can also find cleansing pyres, which spawn monsters when activated until disappearing. They are not part of any whisper, but who knows, maybe in the final version of the season this will change. The second good change between the Season 7 PTR and Season 2 is the fact that we have many seasonal areas in Sanctuary and they start at different times, which means if we finish all the whispers in one area, we don't have to wait for it to start in another, because there's always one active somewhere. The duration is about 15 minutes, but you can clear the entire area of whispers in half an hour at most, with fast builds in 15-20 minutes. The seasonal area keeps us entertained for longer, because after finishing a whisper, exposed roots appear, which spawn enemies or can turn into Cocoon, from which a Thrall or seasonal boss, Headless Husk or Fugitive Head will emerge. After defeating them, more exposed roots can appear and from them more cocoons. It's not an endless process, but it can keep us in one place for a while. Apart from the obvious reward in the seasonal area, which are the Tree of Whispers caches, the reward for us is the new seasonal currency Restless Rot and Fugitive Head. If we are lucky and Fugitive Head emerges from the cocoon, Restless Rot is used to buy and upgrade witch powers, which we can buy in altars at the Tree of Whispers. There are 3 altars with 3 different types of witch powers: Eldritch, Psych, Growth and Decay. However, there are also 4 lost powers, including 1 unique that cannot be bought and can only be found in dungeons. Restless Rot together with Fugitive Head are useful in crafting new seasonal gems, which always provide us with armor and resistances and the complement of witchcraft powers. During the game we find books, grimoires, that unlock the crafting recipes of these gems. The reputation system is very similar to that in Season 5. First of all, we have seasonal quests there, which I remind you that we did not have access to during the PTR, and caches with various contents, and finally, Resplendent Spark at the very end. Additionally, if we obtain all reputation caches, we can later receive additional ones exactly like in Season 5, and I really missed it during Season 6. It is always a chance for an ancestral item and a new seasonal potion. Draught of Whispers. It does not give us additional experience, but it can be used together with other potion. It increases our chances of finding lost altar with lost witchcraft powers in dungeons and the chance to meet Fugitive Head. Another activity is the Roothold Micro Dungeon, which reminds me a bit of a mix between Season 1 Malignant Tunnels and Season 5 Infernal Hordes dungeons. The key to open the Roothold can drop from Silent Chest and Whispers caches, and during the PTR there was only 1 dungeon available in the Fracture Peaks. And I almost forgot the Armory. Finally, the ability to change your build without having to reset the Paragon back and forth or creating a new character. The Armory saves everything: skill bar, skill tree, gear, paragon, glyphs. The game automatically marks the equipment that belongs to the saved build as a favorite and assigned it an icon indicating this part of gear is part of the saved build in the Armory. Cons: unfortunately, the gear is stored in our equipment or chest. In this case, I hope we will get more stash space, or that in the future the Armory will have its own gear storage system. Unfortunately, blue and yellow items still drop as rewards after completing dungeons, but there are other good changes that I came across during testing, but I will talk about those and some bugs in another video. I will tell you right now, however, that the ancestral drop rate is much higher. I also feel like the game runs smoother during the PTR, and despite consuming the same amount of RAM, my PC didn't howl or overheat as much, even in Nahantu, so I'm hoping maybe some optimization is coming to the game. Fingers crossed. Ultimately, I can sum up PTR with these words: I had a great time, and I hope I will have just as much fun in Season 7. But of course, this was only PTR, and as always, many things can still change by the start of the new season. Let me know what is your opinion, whatever you have tested the game on PTR, and what your impressions are. Leave a like, expect another video from the PTR, and take care.